Joining us now is Brittany Fonteno. She is the president and CEO of the National Abortion Federation. Brittany, welcome to the program. Thanks so much for joining us. So, quite a milestone, 2 years now since the overturning of Roe versus Wade with the Dobbs decision by the Supreme Court, and we've seen quite an impact on the country subsequently. And as a result, new polling suggests that there's a record high number of Americans who are now single issue voters on this specific issue, whereas before perhaps people isolated abortion to that itself. Now abortion, reproductive rights are being viewed largely as a health issue.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me. And yes, today we are acknowledging that it has been 2 devastating years since the Supreme Court has overturned Roe v. Wade. And I think you're absolutely right. Abortion rights have always been incredibly important to many voters, but we've really seen it emerge as a deciding factor for many people as they head into the ballot box this November. And so what we have seen since the Supreme Court egregiously overturned Roe is that the impact cannot be overstated. About 21 states have banned or restricted abortion since that day, and that leaves about 21 million American women of reproductive age living under bans. And these women are smart. These women are furious, and they're devastated, and they want to make sure that their voices are heard and that abortion access is reinstated and really expanded when it comes to who they're thinking about voting for in November.
And you look at those states where abortion is banned. Texas is one of them. And just today, a new study in JAMA Pediatrics has drawn a possible link between rising infant mortality in the state and the state's strict abortion law, which took effect in 2021. The study cited an investigation done by CNN on this very issue. So you're seeing real life ramifications and life and death in this issue, specifically as a result of some of these very draconian laws.
Absolutely. Unfortunately, as sad as this is, it's completely unsurprising. We know that when you ban abortion, that it leads to health inequities. We have seen that many states that have banned abortion have actually had a brain drain of sorts, with OBGYNs and other doctors wanting to leave the state and students not even wanting to conduct their studies or their residencies in states with these really drastic abortion bans. And what we see is that they want to be able to practice medicine in places that are supportive and that follow the evidence. We know that abortion is safe, it is effective, and that it is a critical and essential part of reproductive health care. And so when abortion is banned, we do see a cascading impact, whether it's on other areas of maternal mortality, infant mortality, and reproductive health care at large.
In terms of what we're expecting to hear from the Supreme Court with regards to this Idaho case, and that's really a case of state versus federal law, where the strict restrictions in Idaho, where the question is whether or not they can trump the federal law suggesting that stating that women, that mandating that women who are undergoing life or death scenarios must be delivered and given an abortion in that state. How pivotal is this decision going to be? What will you be watching for?
This decision is incredibly pivotal. It is essentially the Supreme Court inserting politics into emergency health care. We know that abortion is critical health care, and in some cases, it can be life-saving health care. There is no reason why a Supreme Court justice or an anti-abortion politician should make these fundamental decisions. This should be left between a patient and their provider, providers that are following the evidence and making compassionate decisions about when abortion care is necessary.
What are you hoping to hear from President Biden this Thursday night as it relates to this specific issue at the debate? And what are you expecting to hear as a rebuttal or perhaps his own statement concerning this issue from Donald Trump?
At the National Abortion Federation, we are really hoping that President Biden will come out strong in support of abortion rights and access. We know that the Supreme Court's decision to overturn Roe, which was a direct effect of former President Trump's nominations to the Supreme Court, that there has been a man-made health emergency, public health emergency. We are in an abortion crisis. And so I really want to see President Biden lift up the many Americans who support abortion rights and access, and really shine a spotlight on this devastating crisis that we're forced to live in right now. Last year, over 171,000 people were forced to travel to leave their homes and communities to access abortion care. This is not something that anyone should feel okay with. And so we really need a spotlight to be given to this health crisis that we're in, and for President Biden to lift up that we need elected officials to step up, to step in and be able to protect and expand abortion access across the country. In terms of a rebuttal, we expect that Donald Trump will likely try to shy away from the mess that he has created in terms of abortion rights and reproductive health care. What we've seen unleashed cannot be overstated. In addition to the cruel and egregious bans that we've seen at the state level, we've also seen the same anti-abortion politicians trying to ban birth control, trying to ban IVF. We know that abortion was just the beginning, and that under a Donald Trump presidency, that we will see our freedoms, whether it's for reproductive health care or other freedoms, be attacked even further.
Yeah, it really has opened Pandora's box with regards to reproductive health care in general. And what we've heard from the former president, a bit mixed messaging. On the one hand, taking credit for appointing the Supreme Court justices that ultimately overturned Roe, but at the same time stating that it should be left up to states. And I think I'm just going to not directly quote him, but he said something along the lines of some states, may get it right and some may get it wrong, or they may go too far, but ultimately it's left up to the states. How do you respond to that type of summary over how the former president feels this issue should be mandated?
Right. I think that you hit the nail on the head. The former president has really flip-flop on this issue. At first, he was saying that he was taking credit for being the most quote-unquote pro-life anti-abortion president in our country's history, and for being the architect of contributing to overturning Roe versus Wade. Now he has seen the political backlash. He has seen the vast majority of Americans on both sides of the aisle do support access to abortion rights. And so we can probably continue to see that he will shy away from this issue, going with wherever the wind blows him. But what we know to be true is that a majority of people support abortion rights and access, and that this is going to be a defining issue in the 2024 presidential election. And we expect that people will come out in droves to make their voices heard on this issue.
All right, Brittany Fonteno from the National Abortion Federation, thanks so much for the time.
Thank you.